Now this is one of the major issues, क्योंकि जब बहुत सारे लोग सिविल सर्विस जब वो कहते हैं या फिर आईपीएस कहते हैं, वो लोग ये नहीं सोचते हैं एक चुनाव जीतने का सबसे बड़ा फायदा या सबसे बड़ा कैच पॉइंट क्या है? योर कंट्रोल ओवर द कॉप्स. Yes, all the police stations have been connected, but the digital connectivity is not proper. मतलब अगर आज भी हम देखोगे तो colonial system आज भी in existence है. How? Political interference is there, political surveillance is there, lack of coordination is also there. वो उस जमाने में भी था, वो आज भी है. That is PESB. The selection board has been created for what purpose? To appoint chairmen to the all top PSUs. Even Karnataka government was able to track down through UPI payments that many of the street vendors are actually earning more than 20 lakhs. Through the Central Vista project, we are developing our Indian identity, and we are not actually going to trust on these old buildings which are constructed by the British. It is not about discussing the thinkers. It is not even a current affair class. This is just to highlight to you that sometimes these questions may come. Hello everyone, welcome to PWOnlyIAS, and yes, the last part of our rapid revision. Really sorry for the late update, but I have shared the PDF in my Telegram channel yesterday night. So again, a student asked, so will it be just the PDF or will you be even sending the video? So this is the video here. So this is my official Telegram channel, people. You can reach out to me over here. Without any further delay, let me take you right into the most important topics of chapter 1. So, monarchy with absolute authority but guided by dharma. That is what is the highlight of what? Kautalian administration. Administrative units were Rajya, Pradesh, Vishaya, Janapada and Gram. Emphasis was always on कोष, treasury, because any bureaucracy you want to maintain, you need money for it. पैसों की जरूरत है अगर आप सैलरी देना चाहते हो आपके ब्यूरोक्रेसी के लिए. As state's foundation, extensive taxation on agriculture, trade, forest produce, state monopolies in salt mine, liquor. यानी कि sources क्या है जहाँ से the Kautalian state got revenue from. Law and order was codified in Arthashastra. Espionage network. Espionage simply means spy network. Spy network was extensively used in Kautalian administration. Swift justice through appointed judges. Welfare role, proactive role in irrigation, famine relief, promotion of trade. Because we know that is the king's true happiness should be what? It should be in the welfare of his subject. That is, राजा के खुशी अपने प्रजा के खुशी में होना चाहिए. Well, military, large standing army, recruitment, training and supply regulated by the state. Treasury considered more crucial than army in long term. Like I told you, बिना कोष के आप कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. Notable provisions. Saptanga theory of state, mandatory audits, welfare expenditure from surplus revenue. Central authority, absolute monarchy under the emperor, divinely sanctioned rule. Administrative units, Subhas Sarkar Paragana village. Revenue and finance, Zabt Aini Dasala system, land revenue as main source, assessed on crop productivity, Jagirdari and Mansabdari ensured revenue military linkage, law and order, Qazi courts, where the Sharia law was implemented, coexisted with imperial regulations, court walls maintained urban order, like cops. Welfare role, patronage of art, culture, irrigation works, famine relief, limited and discretionary, military Mansabdari system, integrated civil and military ranks, Mansabdars maintained prescribed troops. Notable provisions, Aini Akbari, codified administration, Mansab ranks from 10 to 10,000, Jagirs transferable to check rebellion. I know, the Mughal system, I have just almost rushed into it. The reason being that the chances that a question can come from here is very limited. And otherwise also, let me tell you, evolution of Indian administration is a very static chapter, especially when it comes to Kautilya as well as Mughals. Some semblance of dynamism you can expect from the British administration chapter. Kyun? Kyunki British administration contributed three things for us. One is, or rather, basically two things, let us say, most important ones. The post of district collector and the other one is municipal administration. तो ये दोनों चीज आज ब्रिटिश ने क्या दिया और आज वो कैसा है, इसका सवाल आ सकता है. Clear? Taking it further forward, central authority, British administration, parliamentary sovereignty in Britain, Governor General or Viceroy as Crown's agent in India. Administrative units were presidencies, provinces, districts, talukas and villages. Revenue and finance, permanent settlement, Rayotwari system, Mahalwari system. Land revenue was fixed in money terms. Focus was on maximizing surplus to Britain. Law and order was codified. Indian Penal Code, CRPC, CPC, Police Act of 1861 and the High Courts Act of 1861. Welfare law role was limited and utilitarian. Irrigation, famine codes, post-1870s. Education under Wood's dispatch. Military, presidency armies unified post-1857 under Crown. Recruitment favoring martial races. Regulating Act of 1773, Pitt's India Act of 1784, Charter Acts, Government of India Act of 1858, 1990, 1935. You would have visited them in your polity. Just revisit it again. 110 marker, maximum of 15 marker. Beyond that, from this chapter, don't expect any miracles as such. British administration, law and order, district governance and municipal bodies, historical framework with current parallels, policing and law and order. The British established a centralized police force designed to maintain colonial control. Police Act of 1861 created a uniform provincial police system post 1857. Inspector General at the provincial level. You must understand this Inspector General at the provincial level. ये क्या है? ये है आज के तारीख पर ये है डीजीपी. प्रोविंस इज नथिंग बट स्टेट. जो आज हम स्टेट कहते हैं, स्टेट ऑफ यूपी, स्टेट ऑफ बिहार, उसी तरह उस जमाने में इट वाज कॉल्ड प्रोविंस. उस जमाने में प्रोविंस में हाईएस्ट रैंकिंग ऑफिसर कौन थे? आईजी. आज कौन है? डीजीपी. सुपरिटेंडेंट एट द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, वो आज भी है. Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, Indian Evidence Act, codified laws still forming the basis of policing today. District SP under District Magistrate, SHOs at Thana level, that is Station Head Officer, and commissioners in presidency towns. This commissionerate system is also in existence today, especially in cities. Okay. Contemporary parallel. The Prakash Singh case directives 2006 monitored through 2024 echo colonial concerns over political interference in police postings. Now this is one of the major issues, क्योंकि जब बहुत सारे लोग सिविल सर्विस जब वो कहते हैं या फिर आईपीएस कहते हैं, वो लोग ये नहीं सोचते हैं एक चुनाव जीतने का सबसे बड़ा फायदा या सबसे बड़ा कैच पॉइंट क्या है? योर कंट्रोल ओवर द कॉप्स. आप जब चाहो उन्हें ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं. प्रकाश सिंह केस में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा था कि भाई एक ऑफिसर को कम से कम 3 साल एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में पोस्टिंग देना जरूरी है, या फिर उसका पोस्टिंग 3 साल तक यू शुड नॉट डिस्टर्ब दैट पर्सन. बट दैट पर्टिकुलर क्लॉज इज ऑलवेज वायलेटेड क्योंकि इट इज जस्ट अ डायरेक्टिव, इट इज नॉट बाइंडिंग. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स कैन स्टिल, दैट इज आपने चार्ज लेकर सिर्फ 2 महीना ही हुआ है, बट देन स्टिल अगेन यू कैन बी ट्रांसफर्ड. CCTNS rollout reveals uneven digitization across states similar to a British policing capacity varied by province. Crime and criminal tracking network system. आज के तारीख पर अगर आप देखोगे तो उसका implementation में थोड़ा गड़बड़ है. Yes, all the police stations have been connected, but the digital connectivity is not proper. Not everywhere it is proper broadband networking. Speed may be variations है. Just like how British policing capacity varied by province. 2024, Delhi Police's facial recognition used during large gatherings sparks debate about privacy, echoing colonial political surveillance priorities. तो हमेशा ये चीज आता है. दिल्ली पुलिस ने फेशियल रिकॉग्निशन का सॉफ्टवेयर यूज किया था टू आइडेंटिफाई ट्रबल मेकर्स, बार बार जो हर भीड़ के अंदर जाकर ट्रबल क्रिएट करते हैं. सो कंसर्न्स ऑफ प्राइवेसी गेम. लेट मी टेल यू वन थिंग, जहां पर नेशनल सिक्योरिटी का सवाल है, your privacy goes down. So Puttaswamy judgment and all what people keep quoting, Puttaswamy judgment का violation है. Understand one thing, national security के privacy के ऊपर नहीं, sorry, national security के ऊपर नहीं है privacy. National security stands always above privacy. District administration. The district collector or magistrate was the linchpin of provincial control, combining revenue, judicial and executive authority. Just like the linking pin. Implemented permanent settlement, riot warrior, mahal warrior revenue systems. Oversaw police, courts and development works, presided over district boards, post 1883 acts. Contemporary parallel. During the 2023 Odisha train accident, collectors coordinated multi-agency rescue and relief, reflecting the same centralized crisis management role. Integrated district dashboards in Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh. Dashboard का मतलब है वो जो कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन जो है, जब एक वेबसाइट पे अंदर आप जाओगे and when you open it, you will see these data, everything coming up. That is a dashboard. Show the collector's role adapting to tech-enabled governance. Floods in Assam 2024 exposed interdepartmental coordination challenges reminiscent of the colonial district office's dependency on provincial sanction for rapid action. मतलब अगर आज भी हम देखोगे तो colonial system आज भी in existence है. How? Political interference is there. Political surveillance is there. Lack of coordination is also there. वो उस जमाने में भी था, वो आज भी है. Municipal administration. Urban bodies transition from company-controlled civic boards to partially elected municipal councils under British rule. Charter of 1726 set up mayor's courts with limited civic rules. Lord Ripon's 1882 resolution expanded elected representation, though bureaucratic control remained. ये आज भी ऐसा है. Whatever municipal bodies you have, even though they are elected, ultimately कोई भी काम करना है तो किसके इजाजत की जरूरत है, किसके दस्तखत की जरूरत है? IAS. Without the IAS Ashirwad, you won't be able to implement even one scheme under the municipality or even under the Panchayati Raj. Swachh Survekshan 2024. Indore retained the top rank for cleanliness, showcasing effective municipal leadership and citizen participation, a gap during colonial times when municipal priorities served trade and defense. So this is again an example of what? Participative management. जहां पर citizen engagement is also there. Bengaluru and Chennai municipal deficits mirror historic dependence on limited revenue streams like property tax and octroi. That is, Bengaluru and Chennai, they are not collecting their property taxes or octroi taxes properly. Efficient collection nahi hai. Kochi's participatory budgeting contrasts with colonial exclusion of local voices, offering a modern template for democratic urban governance. So, an example of good participative management would be Kochi's participatory budget, which is showing democratic urban governance. Clear, people? Keywords: Colonial or Conceptual Anchor, Current Affairs Trigger Points 2023-25. Indian Civil Service, which was a steel frame, regulatory state, district administration, police, centralization, law and order. इन चीजों में ज्यादा ध्यान थे. Police reforms, Prakash Singh monitoring, political interference in transfers, ये आज भी existing है. District Collector revenue magisterial powers paternalism, यानी कि the district collector was acting like a father there, माई बाप culture. यहाँ पर collectors managing Himachal and Uttarakhand floods, SDG localization, that is sustainable developmental goals under NITI Aayog. ये अगर आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पर it is the service is the motto here. Weberian hierarchy, secrecy, inertia, generalist bias, limited accountability. अब ये था colonial structure का feature. लेकिन आज हमें क्या देखने के लिए मिल रहा है? We are having lateral entry reform by the DOPT order of 2023. Delays in infra clearances. For that we are having Gati Shakti. Delay को मिटाने के लिए. अर्थशास्त्र, रूल ऑफ लॉ, एस्पियोनाज, फिस्कल प्रूडेंस, सर्वेलेंस कल्चर, यानी कि कौतल्या सिस्टम ऑल्सो यू कैन सी ओवर इन द ब्रिटिश जमाना. स्पाइंग वॉज देयर, रूल ऑफ लॉ वॉज ऑल्सो देयर. देन फिस्कल प्रूडेंस मीन्स व्हाट? डोंट स्पेंड योर मनी टू मच. सर्वेलेंस कल्चर, ये सब था. आज भी पेगासस स्पाईवेयर है. लोकपाल फंक्शनिंग रिपोर्ट्स 2023-24, सेम थिंग. Colonial magistracy, crisis manager, regulatory versus developmental role, democratic deficit. मतलब democracy उतना ज्यादा नहीं थे, regulatory थे, democracy was very less. Whereas when you come to modern day COVID-19 crisis management handled by IAS officers, Jal Jeevan Mission, Gati Shakti at district level, all are being implemented by whom? IAS officers. Meritocracy versus elitism, generalist versus specialist, politicization, neutrality, performance. Merit the, it is not that merit was not there. Generalist mostly, politicization was at its peak, neutrality was limited, performance not so important. यहाँ पर lateral entry of officers inducted in 2023, performance linked appraisal proposals, वो हो रहा है. Let me be very honest here. जब तक आप लोग सर्विस क्लियर कर कर ट्रेनिंग सब कुछ खत्म कर कर अंदर जाएंगे, this will become a mandatory thing. आपके परफॉर्मेंस के हिसाब से only they will decide whether to keep you in the service or whether to tell you tata bye bye. Macaulay के minutes 1835, elitist education, centralized bureaucracy, neglect of local self-government. This has changed into what? New education policy 2022, which push for Indian languages, GST council where center-state disputes are solved amicably. Regulatory colonial state, planning state, welfare, service provider, citizen-centric governance. आज क्या है? It is all about direct benefit transfer expansion, Gati Shakti, Digital India, where the shift is towards a facilitator. Bolo beta, what else do you need? That is the concept now. Budget secrecy, Westminster finance, CAG audit, centralized fiscal system. Colonial days. आज क्या है? RBI record dividend transfer, curtailed parliamentary scrutiny. That is, आज भी we can see That is all these are there. But उसके साथ क्या हो रहा है? Extra funding is being provided on to the government in the form of RBI transfer. Parliamentary scrutiny तो अगर आप देखोगे तो from the data what I would have given you, you will see that the number of CAG reports, CAG submitting its reports in the parliament, that has reduced actually. Secrecy, hierarchy, red tapeism, Official Secrets Act, limited accountability, RTI, e-governance. इससे ये सारे problems. So I know RTI, e-governance, etc. is basically being brought for what? To ensure accountability. इसका करंट अफेयर्स का लिंक क्या है अभी? डिजिटल पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट, CAG exposing PSU inefficiency. That is, now everything is getting digitalized. All the data is available. The transparency is being ensured through what? Digitalization. Colonial ethos, IAS continuity, liberalization, regulatory bodies, new public management, Adani Hindenburg versus SEBI's regulatory credibility, privatization and asset monetization. You can connect all this with these topics because there is lack of transparency in this whole Adani Hindenburg versus SEBI regulatory body. SEBI also told we cannot find out who are the actual investors for the Adani company. Funds kahan se aaye hain, we were not able to trace. That is what SEBI told. So if you actually look at it, this is a clear case of what? This is a clear case of colonial ethos. IAS is not maintaining their what is it? They are not maintaining their ethics. Liberalization, regulatory bodies, poor regulation by SEBI, new public management, which actually emphasizes privatization. Uska problem kya hai? Uska problem ye hai. The private players can actually work only for profit. Maybe it can even affect the performance to the point where it even questions the performance of regulatory bodies. Collector as a colonial vestige, law and order versus development, cooperative federalism, center-state friction, center-state tussles over schemes or freebies versus capex, collector-led PM portion rollout. So whatever center-state issues are there, collector issues are there, aajkal, and what is its connected current affair. Clear, people? Moving on to the next chapter, Indian polity is core framework, sovereign, democratic, republic, secular. What is the constitution? What is the Supreme Court? What is the amendment process? What are the amendments that has been made so far till 2023? All these. That is a basically your synopsis of your polity. Basic structure, Keshavananda Varandi, 1973, reaffirmed in Minerva Mills case, 1980. The values of the preambles, the federal setup, what and all lists are there, the Finance Commission grants. All right. Again, a question to come on Finance Commission. It is pretty rare, but still, what are the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission? What is the controversy surrounding it? Just revisit it. Governance and political system, cabinet form of government from Lok Sabha, collective responsibility, Prime Minister is a central role, removal by no confidence. Then President, center-state relations, political culture given by Almond and Verba. Types are there, parochial, subject, participant, mixed forms, combination of above, finance levels, mature, development, low, minimal. Models are Anglo-American, continental European, developing countries. Totalitarian, coercion, low participation. India has a heterogeneous mix, shift over time. 1950s there was proactive participation. 1975 the authoritarian phase because of the emergency. 1989 to 2004 coalition era. Post 2014 dominant party, and also put post 2024 coalition with single largest party. Write it like that only. This is how the system has been evolving in our country. All right. Chapter 3, PSU chapter, economic weight. Again, the facts and figures these are, datas these are. So PSU again, you can, you will get one question definitely. It could be with regard to disinvestment. It could be with regard to the performance of PSU or MOU signed, anything related to it, or overall asking you about the performance of PSU. Is it right to shut it down? Is it right to privatize it? So let us quickly look at the data here. Economic weight is 20% investment, 5% employment. It is responsible for 40% of the domestic output. For FY 2024-25, CPSE profits were up by 18%. Global footprint 25% according to Fortune Global 500 government linked. ONGC Videsh investing in offshore, that is Mozambique gas. Geostrategic role, Gales pipeline expansion to northeast for energy security. China parallel, Belt and Road Initiative. 80 plus state-owned entities are involved in it. That is the Chinese Silk Route, the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, whatever we are discussing or seeing in the media, that is actually developed by more than 80 PSUs of China. In India's IRCON rights executing rail projects in Sri Lanka and Nepal. So we are also doing something at a smaller level. Governance issues 2024 CAG report flagged non-compliance with SEBI norms in 12 major PSUs. That is still there in our country. So when China is busy building, we are still trying to sort out governance issues. CSR mandate 2% net profit for financial year 21-22, 4,600 crore by 160 CPSEs. For financial year 2024, Coal India funded 250 crore for rural solar projects. Appointments, PESB delays, Public Enterprise Selection Board. That is PESB. The selection board has been created for what purpose? To appoint chairmen to the all top PSUs. Correct? That job itself they are not doing. We always say that we should have specialized body for one purpose. एक काम के लिए एक body create करो. We always keep telling that इनका बस एक ही काम है. वो क्या है? Top chairmans को select करो, उनका interview ले लो, hire करो. That itself they are not able to do. In 2024, NTPC chief post vacant for 4 months, impacting decision making. Reform push. NITI Aayog's 2024 list for strategic disinvestment, shipping corporation and BEML. Best practices and reforms. Independent audit committees. Modeled on SEBI LODR norms. ONGC audit board restructured in 2024. Triple P clarity. Indian Ports Bill 2024 to improve Triple P, that is public-private partnership in maritime sector. Tech adoption. Sale using AI for blast furnace efficiency. CSR integration. 2024 NTPC Tripura government MOU for health infrastructure in rural areas. Perform or perish. Air India divestment model applied to BEML and shipping corporation in 2024. Debt management. Disinvestment proceeds from Pawan Hans sale to reduce the fiscal burden. MBO, MIS, PERT, CPM. Key notes with examples. MBO, management by objective by Peter Drucker. Targets set collectively. Example, BSNL 4G rollout deadline, reset 2024 with joint CMD DOT review. MIS, that is Management Information System, data integration. Example, IRCTC MIS tracking passenger load to optimize 2024 Vande Bharat schedules. PERT, uncertain durations. Example, Chandrayaan-3 mission planning template applied to ISRO's Gaganyaan project timelines, because we don't know when it will end or whatever it is. So wherever we are not sure of the timeline, there we will use PERT. Wherever we have to manage things, manage the data, manage the quantity, there you will use what? MIS. Then CPM. Critical path planning. Example, Chenab Bridge final track laying planned through CPM to avoid weather delays. Critical path method to find out when you know you are about to complete a project, but there could be delays in it. So you account for all these delays. You find out, okay, if this happens, then what? Then this happens, then what? Then you will choose the path which will actually help you to complete the project on time. Government of India dividend receipts from CPSEs. So 2021, 39,000 to 59,000. From 59,294, slight increase, 59,533. From there it became 67,000. From 67,000 it became 74,016. That means we are not so far away. That is, maybe in another 3-4 years, our profit will easily hit what? 1 lakh crore. Oh, sorry, the dividend will hit 1 lakh crore. So what is the reason for it? Reason sirf itna hi hai, kyunki now the government, central government has made it very clear. Perform, you will exist. You don't perform, we will either shut you down or we will privatize you. Itni si baat hai. Then the indicative sectoral share of CPSE dividends. पेट्रोलियम सेक्टर का contribution था 34%. Other sectors it was 66%. Higher profits were recorded under energy and power upcycle, strong because of strong demand and prices post 2021. Tighter dividend policies. Minimum 30% PAT or 5% net worth. Government fiscal need. Steady non-tax revenue source. That is the best part about this. Why you shouldn't privatize all of these PSUs? Because क्या हो रहा है? देखो, government is not spending that much amount of money on PSUs. Most of the PSUs have, almost many of them have good autonomy. You only manage your own affairs. That is the attitude these days. So the advantage is, look at the money that is coming in. 39,000 to 74,000. That means it has almost doubled. 4 साल के अंदर the dividend has actually doubled. Better, you're earning money. Non-tax revenue again. So you need not share it with the states also. MOU push. Measurable performance targets and accountability. That is Memorandum of Understanding, where the minister concerned will sign the document, MOU, with the PSU, and they will basically decide, okay, itna profit lana hai, itna turnover, itna investment. Coal India, high volumes and prices, multiple payouts. ONGC, crude price recovery, cyclical but rich payouts. NTPC and Power Grid, steady regulated returns. REC and PFC, high profit growth in power finance. So these are some of the PSUs that are doing really well. Chapter 4. See, from this chapter onwards, to be very honest, it is all about current affairs. Chapter 3 onwards is also current affairs, but mostly it is current affairs. That is the reason why paper 2 will look like your GS paper 2 of mains. All right. So here again, we are only doing that age-old thing that I've been telling you from day 1 of public administration class. Link the current affair with the theory. Yahi kaam hai aapka. Let us get into it right away. Disinvestment. Pros. One-off receipts shifts focus to core sectors, strategic asset monetization. मतलब अगर disinvest आप करोगे तो what is the advantage? You can focus on your main assets. You need not focus your energy on the loss-making assets like Air India. Post-privatization, there has been operational improvement. Problems are there, but things are better than when it was with the government. What is the caveat? Caveat means warning. Loss of future dividends, valuation and execution risks. आज लॉस पर रन रहा, it is running at a loss, doesn't mean that कल भी वो नुकसान में ही होगा. So you have to see whether you can revive it. सीधा सीधा जाकर प्राइवेटाइज मत करो. Best when strategic, transparent and competitive sectors. That is, when you are disinvesting also, it should be done in the most transparent manner, and that sector should be very competitive so that you get good return. MOUs tie CPSEs to measurable financial and productivity targets. This is just like your management by objective, MBO, by Peter Drucker. तो PSU के लिए याद रखना, पीटर ड्रकर का नाम ले लो. 2025 updates, more outcome focused, stronger broad accountability, strengths, clarity, autonomy, annual review. मतलब everybody knows, employee से लेकर MD या chairman तक of the PSU, everybody knows कि उनके targets क्या है. Weaknesses, uneven board independence, overlapping oversight. यानी कि आज भी हमारा PSUs का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है, the boards are not really independent. There will be always minister का एक चमचा होगा उस बोर्ड के अंदर जो खिलवाड़ खेलेगा, because of which the board is not truly independent, and there will be political interference also. आज भी वो है, कम है, but it is there. Chapter 4. From this chapter onwards, we are basically going to come across all those topics which keep coming in the news. And we are only going to do the same exercise what I've been telling you from day 1, which is interlinking it with paper 1. Let us see. So again, यहाँ से I have only chosen the most important ones. Please understand. जो न्यूज़ में बार बार आया है बस वही मैंने ले लिया है. जो स्टैटिक पोर्शन है वो प्लीज आप ही जल्दी से जल्दी पढ़ लीजिए, ठीक है. Prime Minister's Office, coordinated Silkyara Tunnel Rescue, November 2024, were multi-agency operation with rapid deployment of equipment and experts, showcased centralized crisis leadership. This clearly shows why it still shows why the classical era is still relevant, or system 1 is relevant. Led India-UK FTA negotiation review, accelerated pending clauses, strengthened trade bargaining, oversaw Gaganyaan mission readiness 2024, ensured interministerial coordination for space program deadlines. That means PMO is becoming a coordinating agent. Directed post-Morbi bridge collapse safety audit follow-ups, nationwide infrastructure inspections. Invoked Rule 48 retirements, removal of underperforming senior officers in railways and revenue, reinforced performance-based administration. Like I told you, performance review is happening and it is already there. Rule 48 also is being invoked, as well as Rule 56J is also being invoked. And who is doing all this handiwork? Prime Minister's office. पहले कभी ये होता नहीं था, अब हो रहा है. In the last 10 years, easily more than 800 central government all India service officers have all been told Tata bye bye. Kar jaakar beto beta. Monitor national logistics policy implementation. Target is to cut the logistics cost to 8% of GDP by 2030. PMO dashboard tracking real time. Reviewed PM Gati Shakti projects, 80 plus connectivity projects expedited in 2025. Cabinet Secretariat cleared National Quantum Mission Phase 2, boosted R&D funding, fast-tracked DPDP rules, enabled enforcement of India's first standalone data protection regime, oversaw India-EU Trade and Technology Council meeting, coordination across ministries. Why the Cabinet Secretariat is still important. Approved Maritime Security Roadmap 2030, November 24, Cross-Ministry Execution Plan. Facilitated COP29 Preparation Strategy, December 24, Integrated Approach for India's Climate Negotiation Stance. Coming to the Central Secretariat, created Global Trade Policy Division in Commerce Ministry for FTA and Trade Dispute Handling. Established Special Cyber Security Cell in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology to coordinate Cyber Emergency Response Team India and sectoral CERTs. Revised PF Avas urban targets, increased allocation for Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. The different works done by different bodies. Organized National Conference on Ease of Doing Business, Policy Feedback Loop with states. Coordinated implementation of National Green Hydrogen Mission projects with state government. Clear? Finance Commission released 95,000 crore grants to states. Grants means you don't have to return it back. Boosted state budgets for infrastructure and welfare. Disbursed 12,000 crore to urban bodies meeting property tax digitization milestones. यानी कि this is like performance linked. Whoever achieved digitization completely, उनके लिए ये grant disburse होगा. Provided DRM funds to Assam and Sikkim floods. Early warning systems and embankment repair के लिए. Endorsed green cess by Kerala and Punjab, additional fiscal space. Warned on FRBM slippage risk, that is Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, prompted states to rationalize their borrowings. Suggested carbon credit-based grant incentives, integration of climate finance into devolution. Alright. Ministries and departmental organization. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways expanded the Delhi-Jaipur e-highway to 6 lanes. Reduced the travel time. GSTN rolled out AI-based fraud detection system, improved tax compliance. No doubt about it. Even Karnataka government was able to track down through UPI payments that many of the street vendors are actually earning more than 20 lakhs. So, thereby demanding them to get registered with GST and start paying the tax. EPFO, full digitization of claims, faster settlements. MOUA, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, launched Smart Streets Initiative in 20 cities. PPP agreement for green hydrogen hubs through Ministry of Ports. Ministry of Power, NTPC commissioned floating solar project in Telangana. Coming to the updates on All India services, lateral entry appointments at Joint Secretary level in NITI Aayog, Agriculture Ministry. Domain Expertise Infusion, 2024. Supreme Court ruling on mandatory ACR disclosure. Transparency in career assessment. That is the annual confidential report. Training module on climate change policy introduced at Labasna. Performance-based empanelment policy revised for IAS IPS officers, December 2024. I was not kidding when I said that the performance-based empanelment is increasing. For whom? IAS, IPS. Not for any other central service. So obviously, when you are at a higher service, you will be under the radar also to that level. I mean, again, no, whoever is performing, they need not worry about anything. Cabinet committees approved 1.2 lakh crore submarine project, bolstered defense manufacturing. CCA cleared 15,000 crore semiconductor fabrication incentive package, which is a strategic tech push. Approved minimum support price hikes for major crops to help the farmer. Again, okayed the national AI mission roadmap. Some more updates on PSCs. Dividends worth 74,000 crore. Most of it were coming from Coal India, ONGC, NTPC, REC, PFC were the top contributors. NTPC built rural hospitals in Tripura. Coal India installed solar grids in rural Jharkhand. Expansion. ONGC discovered new oil reserves in Krishna Godavari Basin in 2024. Efficiency drive. SAIL has modernized the Bokaro steel plant line. Disinvestment. Progress in BML Shipping Corporation strategic sales. Green transition. IOCL invested in EV charging infrastructure at 10,000 fuel stations. MOUs with PSCs. Financial year 2025 MOUs include measurable KPIs. That is, KPIs means key performance indicators, quarterly review meetings, penalties for underperformance. Focus on return on equity, asset monetization, ESG compliance. REC and PFC MOUs tied disbursement targets to renewable project finance. Hindustan Aeronautics MOU linked to export order book growth. That is, REC and PFC, again, PSUs, they were given targets basically with regard to investments for renewable projects. Hindustan Aeronautics was basically given target for what? Export order book increasing. That is more the number of exports you are getting. That is a target given to them. Theory integration, post-corp, PMO and secretariat are basically what? As planning, coordinating, reporting hubs. Staff versus line, PM or cabinet secretariat with the ministries as the line. NPM, performance-based grants, MOUs, lateral entry, because there it is all about performance. Good governance, transparency in ACR, CSR outreach, e-governance projects. Fiscal federalism, finance commissions transfer, state-level revenue innovation. Bounded rationality, cabinet committee focusing on select priorities, not on everything. That is basically semiconductor, renewable energy, farmer subsidy. Privatization was public sector retention. Trade-off in disinvestment decisions. Trade-off means what? When you get something, you will have to let go of something else. You win some, you lose some. Management by objective, Peter Drucker. Definition, collective setting of organization goals, targets, measurements. What are its key features? Goals are derived from organization's mission. Managers participate in goal setting. It encourages self-control over domination. Domination is a theory that was given by Weber / System 1. Enhances teamwork, aligns personal and organizational goals. Impact, it improves accountability and motivation. Example, NITI Aayog's performance-based evaluation framework for adopting KPI-linked targets aligns with MBO philosophy. Network analysis, break the project into tasks, map the dependencies, reduce delays. Key features, identify task relationships, determine shortest project duration, efficient resource allocation. Example, Gati Shakti National Master Plans Logistics Project use network analysis for multimodal transport linkage. Again, Gati Shakti, the whole idea is what? Making that infrastructure as smooth as possible, where connectivity improves smoothly. Critical path method, CPM. Definition, identifies the longest path of dependent activities, determines minimum completion time. For projects with defined activities and timelines, highlights non-delayable tasks. Example, Vizhinjam International Seaport Project used CPM to fast-track critical dredging and berth construction phases. Program evaluation and review technique. Definition, probabilistic approach using optimistic, most likely and pessimistic time estimates. कब तक खत्म हो सकता है? The most optimistic time, most likely, and finally pessimistic. Best for uncertain duration projects. Recent example, 24-25, ISRO's Gaganyaan human space mission using PERT to manage testing and launch timelines amid uncertainties. MIS integrates data for decision making, real-time accurate data, automates processes. Ayushman Bharat's digital missions MIS used for hospital empanelment tracking and claim settlements. Union government structure, constitutional basis, Article 53, 74, 75, 77, 78, 79, 80, 85, 111, 123. Permanent executives are the civil servants. Political executives are the elected representatives. Debate continues over lateral entry of specialists into joint secretary posts, administrative efficiency versus federal concerns. Why there is concern here? Because there is a lack of transparency. On what basis are you recruiting these so-called specialists? Is there any exam? No, it is just an interview. So bringing back specialists, even though we say it will become efficient, you can get expert advice, etc., it is considered to be a revival of the spoil system, which Woodrow Wilson was against. President's powers, administrative, appointment or removal of high-level functionaries, administration of union territories and scheduled areas. Legislative, summoning, proroguing parliament, nominating Rajya Sabha members, veto powers, use of suspensive veto, ordinance making powers, Article 123, urgent legislative action when parliament is not in session, overuse, repromulgation, Delhi Services Ordinance overturning, Supreme Court verdict on control over civil servants in Delhi, civil services in Delhi. Just visit this. There's a classic example of a domination and bypassing the judiciary. That is, the central government will have complete control over the civil servants who are working for the Delhi government. Kerala issued 70 plus ordinances in 2024 despite frequent assembly sessions, raises legislative bypass concerns. You cannot just confine your examples criticizing the center alone. You will have to give examples criticizing the state also. Got the point here? Keep it very spread and very wide. So this is just a summary. Okay. For example, constitutional basis, president head of the state, PM head of the government, cabinet collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. Current affairs example, president returned the state bill. This is an return the state bill. This is clear example of Weberian bureaucracy, separation of powers in parliamentary system between the president and the prime minister. Appointment and tenure, coalition government in Jharkhand. President sought proof of majority. This is constitutionalism. Legitimacy, you are ensuring through legislature. Legitimacy means basically you are following the tenets of the constitution. Appointing governor, CAG, EC judges, etc. Appointment of new governors in 6 states before assembly polls, which is clearly NPA. You are taking an active, proactive role. Legislative power, summon, prorogue parliament, address joint session, nominate Rajya Sabha members. Withheld assent on anti-communal violence bill. This constitutionalism as well as legislative executive relations. Emergency powers, 352, 356, 360. President's rule in Manipur because of instability. Classic case of what? Rick's prismatic model, formal versus political powers. Prismatic. You don't have complete specialization, complete diffraction has not taken place, nor it is completely fused. Mix of both. That is what president's rule is clearly, correct. PM's role, leads cabinet, sets policy agenda, advises on key appointments, coordinates ministries, represents India abroad. PM led special G20 Global South session, rapid cabinet implementation. Post Corp. For Prime Minister or Prime Minister's office, always remember it is best to go for Post Corp. Clear? And when it comes to relationship dynamics, the classic example is good governance, consultative decision making. President urged government to prioritize Maharashtra drought relief. Discretionary powers of the president. It is again coming under executive legislative relations theory with regard to what? For example, invited largest coalition in Odisha after fractured mandate. Tensions and coordination. Divergences over bills, ordinances, judicial appointments. Disagreement on ordinance for cooperative banking regulation. Again, it is executive legislative balance. Contemporary trend. Just go through it. Just read it. Clear? PM government formation. With regard to Prime Minister now. Prime Minister when it comes to government formation. For example, in 2024, reshuffle added ex-bureaucrats to the cabinet. Delegation of authority, patronage politics, because Prime Minister was handpicking the people for his cabinet. Policy leadership, PM led G20 summit agenda directly controlled by the PMO. Westminster model, cabinet versus prime ministerial government. Prime ministerial government's whole point is that Prime Minister can set the agenda. Parliamentary control, winter session 2023 shortened before the state polls. Again, legislative executive relationship. Emergency powers. Indira Gandhi used Article 352 to impose emergency. Michel's iron law of oligarchy. That means power is just concentrated with just a few people. This you need not write actually. This is not actually public administration. You can instead quote what? You can instead easily quote. This is a classic example of System 1. Exploitative authority. Prime Minister historical phases. 2016 demonetization, 2019 surgical strikes, unilateral executive actions. Clear example of what? Executive dominance. Parliament composition, President, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Montesquieu separation of powers. Just mention it. Parliament functions again, 2023 DPDP bill passed without committee scrutiny, which according to Lasky is a deliberative function. The deliberative function means to debate and discuss according to Lasky. You need not remember Lasky also because I have not taught it for you. Not important, that is only reason. So you can go for Foley. Integration. Or you can go for T group of Argyris. Got it? Parliament declining. Sittings. 2023 monsoon session cut short due to disruption. Efficiency versus deliberation trade-off. That is, debates and discussions are reducing in the Parliament. Women representation. Women's reservation bill passed in 2023, which is basically nothing but having equal representation. Representation, the size. Anti-defection law, Maharashtra NCP split in 2023, no disqualification. That is, even after the NCP split, no disqualification was done. Example for what? Institutionalism. That is, you are institutionalizing moral corruption. It is perfectly okay to, what is it, just to grab power. If splits occur, it is perfectly okay. Supreme Court in 2023 directed timely speaker decision. That is, speaker should take a timely decision whether or not a government should come back, should be allowed to, whether or not a political party should be allowed to form government or not. Put it under judicial review, reform proposals. This is a cross comparison of the systems what we have in India, France and USA. So India, if you see, we have a parliamentary republic. US it is presidential republic. France it is semi-presidential. Nominal head of the state. The president is nominal head. USA real head, president. France also real head. Shares executive powers with PM. Election, indirect through electoral college. Direct popular vote. A 2-round system is used in France. That is, the president is directly elected in France. Term and limit, 5 years. No term limit. 4 years, maximum 2 terms. That is, only twice somebody in USA can become the president. France also 5 years, no term limit. Executive powers, appoints PM, ministers, governors, etc. Mostly on PM's advice. Appoints the cabinet, senior officials, executive laws. Appoints the PM. Presides over Council of Ministers. That is, French president is very strong. Legislative role, summon, prorogue parliament, dissolve Lok Sabha, assent to bills, nominate 12 Rajya Sabha members, recommends legislation, State of the Union address, back to parliament, request reconsideration, call referendums. Just go through it just in case you get a question. Veto powers, suspensive veto, regular veto, can request second reading by parliament, no absolute veto. Ordinance powers, can issue ordinance, don't have any ordinance power for the US president, can issue decrees in specific authorized by the parliament. In some matters, it can be done. Emergency powers are there. US president also has it. So is the case with French president. Everybody is having it. Clemency powers, it is there. It is there for all the three again. Foreign affairs, again all the three. But here again, you have to understand one thing. Whatever it is doing, it is based on Prime Minister and Council of Ministers advice. Accountability, impeachment by Parliament, impeachment by Congress, removal only for high treason or constitutional violation by the High Court of Justice. Central Vista Redevelopment, theories, features, efficiency and economic gains. Digital governance, how ICT enabled offices and paperless files. So it was there the other day also that it is very easy to move the office from the old building, the north and south building, to the new Kartavya building. Why? Most of the files are e-office. RIGS ecological approach, Indian identity, citizen legitimacy and trust. Postcard, proximity, better coordination, less silos, more synergy. That is, we are actually developing our own Indian identity. That is what we are doing. Through this Central Vista project, we are developing our Indian identity, and we are not actually going to trust on these old buildings which are constructed by the British. To ensure citizens' legitimacy and trust. Postcorp, for proximity and better coordination. That is, all the ministries will be now near. No more travel time. That is the rough estimation as per some media is that through this new building, new parliament and new secretariat building, etc., the annual savings is easily 1,500 crore. More than that actually. Annual savings. Because you are not wasting time in moving around. New public management, green cost-effective modern buildings which will reduce rent and energy costs. Weber's bureaucratic model, uniform infrastructure and hierarchy, standardization and stronger authority. Taylor scientific management, centralized secretariat, a single hub, faster file movements and less delay. No more walking around, running around and all from one building to next building. Everybody are nearby. But one issue which has been cited by most of the officers who have moved to the new, be it the Central Vista or new secretariat, is that there is a clear lack of privacy. That is, they can basically look into what the other person is working on. That is one complaint that has gone to the DOPT. 3 new criminal laws analysis. Let us see that now. 3 new criminal laws analysis. Why we are doing this is 1 year has been completed. So there is a very good chance that you may get a question on this. Modernization of colonial IPC. Areas needing reforms is risk of misuse of broad definitions like terrorism, organized crime. What is this again? Again, it is a prismatic model. We have tried to make it diffracted. That was the purpose of bringing it. But still it is a prism only because still a lot of clarity needs to come. Victim-centric justice because general neutrality debates. Mary Parker Foley, conflict resolution and human relations. You can link it with that. Clearer classification of offenses, continuity of colonial punitive culture, Max Weber. That is, punishment culture still continues. It is not about reform, it is about punishment only. That is clearly given. Emphasis on citizen protection, weak awareness and legal literacy. Dwight Waldo, public administration as guardians of democratic values. So how do you do that, the democratic values, when people are aware of things? Speedy trial provisions, time-bound investigation and EFIR. Implementation deficit is there due to capacity constraints. What is needed? Need of the hour is Taylor scientific management. Transparency and accountability in investigation. Police reforms are incomplete. The colonial way of functioning and working still remains. Max Weber, bureaucratic neutrality. Efficiency through digitization. Digital divide across states. Unequal readiness. This again is nothing but Rick's ecological approach. The contextual adaptability. That is, southern states have better internet connectivity or penetration compared to northern or eastern states. Even western states for that matter. Uniformity across states, center-state friction in criminal justice reform. Administrative law theorist, Dicey, rule of law, K.C. Weir, federalism. Modern forensic evidence acceptance, shortage of labs and trained personnel. That is the issue. You can link it with Herbert Simon, decision making. Need for factual data. So when you don't have enough of labs, etc., you end up taking decisions based on bounded rationality. Digital evidence admissibility. There are concerns of data privacy concerns. New public management, which will bring in accountability along with ICT. Victim or witness protection in evidence. Again, robust protection mechanisms are not there. Cooperation and securing consent under Chester Bernard. People's participation through transparency, weak awareness at grassroots, again rigs, development administration. Analyzing PMO under Modi, just in case you get a question. Centralized PM-centric decision making, cabinet committees restructured in 2019. So I'll just go by this, which is thinker is Max Weber. Appointments of Nripendra Mishra PK, PK Mishra, DOPT lateral entry 2023. Woodrow Wilson. So what has he done? Centralized PM-centric decision making. That is the first thing. The next is technocrat-heavy lateral entries and stronger bureaucratic control. Third one, real-time policy monitoring through Pragati dashboards. Pragati reviews infrastructure projects monthly, which is again nothing but Taylor, Herbert Simon, fact-based decision making. Change, post-2014 PMO. Continuing. Direct citizen communication through social media, Man Ki Baat and My Government. 100th episode of Man Ki Baat completed in 2023. Again, it is nothing but new public administration, citizen-centric governments, Den Hard, new public service. Strong centralization in center-state relations, especially the Delhi Services Bill 2023 and GST Council disputes. Rigs, prismatic model, KCVR, federalism, dicey, rule of law. PMO steers key legislation, ordinance-heavy approach, farm laws, DPDP Act 2023. Lindblom, incrementalism versus big bang policy making. Big bang means from scratch a totally new policy. Muddling through. Lindblom means what? Incrementalism. Muddling through. Little micro changes you are making. Something similar to single loop learning. NITI Aayog as think tank. PMO sets direct targets. Gati Shakti aspirational district program connected with Gulick and Ervik. PMO as crisis management. COVID-19 management and Ukraine evacuation. Operation Ganga 2022. Connected with Chester Bernard. PM-led personalized foreign policy, G20 presidency and Quad summits. Neoclassical theory, leadership. Burns, transformational leadership. You're changing the way by which things are being handled. Symbolism and narrative building by PMO, Kartavya Path, new parliament, Central Vista project, rigs, administrative ecology, public administration as a political act. NITI Aayog updates. Cautious stance on GM crop imports. Withdrew working paper on GM soybean, corn, government signaling hard biosafety line. Connected with rigs. Public administration as custodian of values. Promotion of state level science and tech funding. Urge states to spend 0.5% of their GSTP on science and tech councils, restructure governance or innovation. Herbert Simon and NPM. Recognition of grassroots health innovation. Project Bloom, Mizoram on maternal and child health showcased as best practice. Riggs, Den Hart. So you can clearly see the thinkers are getting repeated. It is just that the examples are changing. Visionary planning through governing council. Chhattisgarh's 3T model. Technology, transparency, transformation presented in NITI meeting aiming for rupees 75 lakh crore economy by 2047. Again, Gulick and Ervik. Post-Corp. Simon. New indices and frameworks launched. Electric Mobility Index 2024 EV Opportunity Report Frameworks for Railways Non-Fare Revenue. Again, Taylor. Why Taylor? One best method. Why Simon? Fact-based or evidence-based policy. Digital initiatives. So these are some of the initiatives. Land records digitization. Chandigarh selected for piloting a blockchain-enabled land record digitization. Nationwide land right digitization. Government is targeting 100% digitization of land records by December 2025, excluding Northeast and Ladakh. RBI's AI framework for finance sector. A comprehensive AI framework covers infrastructure governance, risk oversight, fund creation, and integration with digital platforms like UPI. Madhya Pradesh, Sampada 2.0 land registration system. Taylor, Simon. Online land and mortgage registration, e-Khata. Bureaucracy, Riggs prismatic model. Transition from traditional to digital administration. Some data regarding the details regarding each of the scheme. You can go through that. Bihar, digital tools for RTPS and HRMS. Gulik and Ervik, Post Corp, Denhard's new public service. Uttar Pradesh, AI powered transparency NEM Narega. Herbert Simon, NPM. Mizoram, IoT enabled health ATMs. Riggs, Dwight Waldo. Let us look into the civil service reforms now. Unified pension scheme, defined pension 50% of base salary, replacing NPS from April 2025. Riggs and Max Weber. Mission Karmayogi capacity building to improve the behavior and leadership training for bureaucrats. Herbert Simon, Denhard. Civil services exam reforms under discussion. Limits on age, attempts, mid-career lateral entry proposals. Woodrow Wilson, Simon bounded rationality. Simplified compassionate appointment rules, digital portal. Weber and Waldo again. Contested promotion rules, Riggs, Pauley. SSC exam mismanagement protests, Weber, Waldo. Expanded financial powers to officers, Delhi, Taylor, as well as Gulik and Ervik. Local government reforms. High Court orders to conduct Panchayat elections in Rajasthan. Again, Lasky, Democratic Foundation. Pauley, participative governance. New e-governance award category for Gram Panchayats. NPA. Taylor. Direct mayoral elections in Chhattisgarh. Weber and Foley. Greater Bengaluru Authority formation. Riggs, Gulik and Ervik. Dibrugarh upgraded to Municipal Corporation. Simon and Riggs again. Telangana's e-Aadhaar property registration pilot. Weber, Taylor. Nagpur Smart City Governance Transition. Gulik and Ervik, Simon. Nagpur New Development Plan, Taylor as well as Riggs. Gurgaon Civic Crisis Coordination. Chester Bernard, Gulik and Ervik. Telangana Municipal Ordinance for new civic bodies. Lasky and Foley. Mother tongue, instruction plus edtech integration. Dwight Waldo, Riggs. Accreditation overall binary accreditation model. That is, this is for your NEP, by the way. New education policy. For that you have Weber and Herbert Simon. Uneven higher education reforms. New public management, Simon. Implementation lag in Uttarakhand. Riggs, Denhart. Skill industry disconnect and poor global reach. Herbert Simon, new public service. Launch of One Nation, One Subscription. Taylor, Simon, NPM. One Nation, One Election. Dicey's rule of law. Lasky again, democratic safeguards. Cabinet approval and expert support. Weber, Gulik and Ervik. High implementation cost. Again, One Nation, One Election. Taylor, Simon. Federalism and regional concerns. Riggs, KC Weir. I know I have rushed towards the last 10, but the point here is it is not about discussing the thinkers. It is not even a current affair class. This is just to highlight to you that sometimes these questions may come. So basic awareness of what it is. Read through it. Still you have a doubt on the scheme means just Google it. But the thinker is given there. Just connect it with that thinker. I know Lasky, etc. Sir, you didn't teach only. Some of you might be wondering because not a single question has come on it. I'm just giving it as an extra. That's all. Got the picture here. Just additionally, I have given it. If you don't want to write it, it is fine. You can go for any other thinker, human relational thinker or behavioral thinker who talked about bottom-up approach. Got it, people? So all the very best for your exams, people. Do really well. All right. Take care. God bless.